Hi, my name is Eloise. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm upcycling old pairs of jeans that I just don't wear anymore. So I have this black denim and then this blue denim right here. They've been sitting in my drawers for at least a year now without getting worn at all. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm gonna make two different tops out of these two pairs of jeans. For the black jean, I'm thinking open back, cropped pretty tight at the front with a tie that crisscrosses at the back. And for the blue one, I want a top with a sweetheart neckline with a zipper at the front and two kind of off-the-shoulder puff sleeves. So that's what I'm going for with my old jeans. I started by slaughtering my jeans, only keeping the bigger and flatter parts I could actually work with. Okay, as I was recording this, I just realized that I threw away two perfectly good zippers and my dad literally just took the trash out. I'm debating whether or not I should try to get them back. Hey, that could be a look, right? Isn't it? Is it? Imagine wearing that. And look, it has pockets. Oh well. I decided to start with a black top. I used the homemade pattern I always use, but made a small alteration at the top because I wanted it to go higher and to have a straight neckline. I also didn't use the back piece because, well, I didn't need it. Then I awkwardly tried on the pinned version, realized it wasn't the exact shape I wanted, but decided to be lazy about it and sewed it like that anyway. So I don't know what to do. Right now, it looks like this, and I like it, it fits me. I shouldn't have worn a black top because you can barely see the difference, but I wish it would have followed more of the shape of my tank top, and I don't know if it's gonna look good if I just fold it like that. I don't know, I don't think I want that. So now I'm thinking I should maybe just crop it, and then I can put the two straps. Maybe it would be better like this. I don't know what to do. I think I'll sleep on it. And so I did. Okay, in all seriousness, I watched the entire Hamilton musical that night and spent the next day obsessing over it. Raise a glass to freedom. So I got back to work 2 days later, which gave me enough time to realize that it was worth it to start over in order to get that neckline I really wanted. Spoiler alert, it really wasn't worth it, and I didn't get my neckline. I kept my front piece the same, but made the sides go a little higher this time. I sewed everything together, then used this stitch, trying to imitate the overlock stitch to keep the raw edges from fraying on the inside. I cut the excess fabric and, as I mentioned earlier, sacrificed my beloved neckline because it just wasn't working. Next, I overlocked the raw edges all around the top. To finish those off, I just folded the fabric once, pinned it in place, and sewed all around it. It kept getting stuck at the corners, so I had to pull out my little scissors to push the fabric through the machine. I was using my fingers first, but quickly realized how wrong that could go and changed my technique. Then I cut out a sturdy seam from the pants and sewed a straight stitch on the raw edge so it wouldn't fray too much. I cut it up in 4 pieces and pinned those to the top as little loops for the ties to go through. I sewed those on with a machine and this happened. So I knew trying to fit all those layers of denim in the machine would be hard, but I didn't know how hard, and my needle broke. Like the actual needle this time, and I kind of want to just stop working on it, but I know I need to keep going. Look at that. I have to take it out now and replace it. I did replace it, and I did keep going, but this time I used a bigger needle, better for sturdier fabrics like denim. All I knew when I started making the straps was that I needed them to be very long, and so I got a little carried away. I cut so many strips of fabric thinking I was going to put them all together and salvage everything I could, when in reality I only needed a few of those. I sewed the ends together, making each strap about 150 centimeters long, and then folded and sewed that strap along the side. I flipped them inside out with a safety pin, and I filmed part of it, but it was so hard to do it just would have been too long, so I decided to stop filming and watched Grey's Anatomy instead. Oh, and I sewed the straps by hand, but I forgot to film it. When I tried it on, I thought it looked weird and I didn't understand why, but it was only when I was editing that I realized what I'd done wrong. See, when I had pinned my pieces together earlier, I had started pinning them correctly, but then I paused, thought for a few seconds, unpinned everything, flipped the front piece around, and started pinning in the wrong direction. I have no clue what my brain was thinking in that moment, but because of that, I had to make darts. Then I was done for the first top. The next day, I got started on the second one. I used that same pattern, this time actually following the neckline and keeping the back. I pinned my pieces together, leaving the front open for the zipper I was going to put in. I sewed everything together and used that same overlocking technique for every seam. Before pinning the zipper, I folded the raw edge once so that when I'd sew everything in place, it would be completely covered. I hope that made sense. I'm really sorry if it didn't. I did the same for both sides and sewed the zipper with a basting stitch first, just in case I'd mess something up. I didn't, so I folded the zipper on the inside and sewed a stronger stitch as close to the zipper teeth as possible. Isn't teeth kind of a scary way to refer to a zipper? Since I couldn't access to the end of the zipper because of the pull tab, I closed the zipper and sewed the ends afterwards. I sewed one last stitch to solidify everything, this time further away from the teeth. For this top, I decided to do a rolled hem, so I just folded over the edges twice and sewed that in place. Next, it was time for the puff sleeves. I didn't have a lot of fabric left, so I had to settle for smaller ones than what I originally wanted, but I cut 2 large strips, a bit longer than the circumference of my arm, and sewed the ends together to create 2 circles. I once again overlocked the edges to save as much fabric as possible. I folded the edges to create a little casing, both at the bottom and at the top of each sleeve. I made sure to leave a small opening for each one for my elastic to go through. I measured how much elastic I would need by wrapping it around my arm, tight enough so it would hold, but loose enough so it'd be comfortable. I cut 4 of those and threaded each piece of elastic through its casing with a safety pin. I tied both ends of the elastic together and closed off the opening with a straight stitch. I sewed the sleeves to the bodice, making sure the side seams were aligned with the ones on the sleeves. And I was done!